Hello, it's Noah Vortex, and yeah, just doing one of these video vlogs, I suppose, where I reel off how I'm feeling, I suppose. I thought I'd just do something basically. This is a really sort of going to be a bit rambling. There's not going to be much structure to it, so just so you know, very personal vlog, I suppose. At the minute, I'm sort of it's the time of year, but depression is hitting me a bit more now than the last few months. Like I've gone on a few times before, I've had that cold, and I'm definitely clouded with negative thoughts, negativity and really hostile negative thoughts towards existence, the world. I mean, basically, it's like a sort of very heavy pessimism of the spirit, which I can get into at this time of year because it gets darker. It gets dark like 4 o'clock at the minute. I was ill not long ago physically with a cold, and I'm going through these phases. There's been a lot of change. Well, there hasn't really. Obviously, I'm going through the thing that everybody goes through when they've come out of a long-term relationship, where you just sort of reassess everything and feel a bit hopeless. And dating-wise, I've just given up. Actually, on that, I'll be honest. I'm kind of like, it's just left me feeling a bit there. So in terms of like the online dating, I'm just sort of feel very despondent about that. I can't be bothered with it. In all honesty, I haven't got the energy for it, the mental energy, the will to really try with it. And maybe I shouldn't. I'm sort of coming to the sort of idea that it's probably not the best way to meet someone. I don't think it's very. I think a lot of people are dropping out of it, really, the online dating world. And probably I just need some time to be myself, work on myself, and fix those things first, rather than seeking validation or whatever in a relationship. I'm not saying I'm going incel or anything, fuck no. I still desire sex and connection and all that sort of thing, of course. But, well, I guess technically incels do want sex, but they can't get it. I'm fat, I've got a terrible neck beard, I'm not quite that bad yet. Anyway. But yeah, I don't know, I've sort of been doing what you usually do in this sort. I've been working still quite hard. I'm still working on my job, which has been it's still going well actually. I've got a few days left on the contract, so it'll be extended a while. So that's been going well professionally, and I've got stuff coming up, but I really struggle with the sense of meaninglessness sometimes, which is a recurring theme. I guess it's just like a curse of being alive. You have these periods of struggle. I think what I'm trying to do a lot more at the minute is just, you just have to white knuckle through a lot of it, to be honest. There is no easy solution. Because I struggled with depression for since I was 18, even younger than that, really, 17, 16, I can remember going through profound depressions, and that doesn't go away. I've got bipolar 1, and the profound, deep depressions will come around about once a year, and I think I'm sort of going into the start of one maybe now. I sort of seem alright now, but it sort of goes in peaks and troughs even during the day. I was in work today. I went to the office actually, and I felt pretty good actually. I had a pretty good morning, and then I hit I don't know, 2 or 3 o'clock, and I completely bombed energy wise. I just lost, hitting a wall. It's that unpredictable. It's annoying actually in a lot of ways. Maybe my approach to dealing with depression isn't always the best. I'm one of these who does the opposite of listen to happy music, listen to this, listen to the optimism. I do the opposite of that. So at the minute I'm reading a series of short stories by Thomas Ligotti, who's a horror writer. I'm reading about Shostakovich and the Leningrad Symphony. So the the Siege of Leningrad and how that M.T. Anderson's book Symphony for the City of the Dead, which is obviously it's a very interesting book, but it's also very dark. One of the biggest battles in human history and biggest field of battle in the Second World War, and just the atrocity, everything else, and I don't know. I mean, maybe I should. Maybe I am doing the wrong thing by actually exploring the darker underbelly of human existence when I feel depressed already. Maybe that is a bit negative. I don't know. I mean, it's always worked for me before though. I think for music it works. So I've been listening to a lot of ambient drone today. It's sort of classical, sort of melancholic music. But I don't know what it is. Like I need when I listen to when I'm feeling a certain mood, I want to listen to a sound that unlocks the emotions that are inside, and it helps do that actually. And the more you unlock that emotion, actually, I think the better, because emotions are strange. Like if you lock them up too long, they just fester. They really do. I mean, it could be anger, it could be sadness, emotion, whatever. Like I tend to have when it comes to negative emotions, I tend to have two modes, which is like irritation and anger, and this sort of sadness, melancholic feeling. And that sadness, melancholic, obviously I'm clinically, I suffer from bipolar, which is a clinical depression as part of it. It can become overwhelming to the point where you sink, and the anger and agitation is a part of it as well. So when I'm agitated or angry, it's just anything. I mean, I'm quite angry at the minute, a bit agitated at the minute. Not angry now, but just in general, like I'll just be walking around and be like effing and jeffing of getting frustrated really fast, or I wish I could control that, but like anger is something I struggle with. I have anger issues for sure. I'm not probably not as extreme as some other men. Like I'm not like I don't know, I'm not like that bad. I'm not like a violent. I don't go out and beat people up or anything, or snap. But I mean, I guess I have mini snaps, but I've never had like a big snap. I don't think nothing too bad anyway. And if I've ever acted out, it's usually in inanimate objects, which is still a form of violence, sure, but it's not the same as beating somebody up physically, person. Anyway, I don't know what this is about really. It's just venting really. I don't know. I mean, I guess I want to get out of this eventually, but it's not easy really. It's a very hard time of year. Even my housemate is not feeling too good at the minute as well. So it gets the seasonal affective thing, which I think it definitely affects everybody. I think it affects affects people who don't really have clinical depression a bit as well, to be honest. And yeah, it's probably the worst month of the year, November. Really, it's just grim. It's dark so early. Anyway, this is a very just depressing ramble. It's more just from my own therapy, really. I stopped having therapy. I'm thinking I might restart it again. Actually, I've been thinking that I probably should restart it. I used to be having weekly sessions with on video calls, and that was actually think now I've been off it for a while. I've actually realised, even though not all the time we were really getting in depth, that was probably really beneficial and just as a venting space. And I think because I'm going through depression, I need to re-engage with that. I think it's a very important thing to engage with that. In general, for anybody really who has any sort of mental troubles, therapy is very important, because it just gives you a space where you can just vent and then have a proper professional who knows what they're talking about actually analyse it, and they can sort of give you guidance. State the obvious really, but I think I've realised that I do need it really. It's I'm just going to talk for as long as I can about try and sort of crystallize what it is. I mean, the real annoying thing about depression, right, is that it's very hard to actually pinpoint anything in your life that you can put down on paper is like, this is the reason why I feel melancholic and sad and listless and everything else. And like I've been managing it relatively well. Like I've still been working fine. I have a full-time job. Some of it's remote, but I've still been managing and everything. That part of my life. But I've just been sort of going to bed and feeling like really I've been feeling a bit insecure about my weight recently. I think I've been feeling it physically a lot more as well. I think because of the cold I had, where it's just my chest is a bit heavy, and I just feel very like becoming like a slug. You sort of feel that, and it affects your confidence, of course, and I'm just sort of very conscious of it. I mean, I'm big. I'm like a pretty big guy, really, and obviously there is a way to change that, and it's eat less crap and do more exercise. But mentally, right now, I'm not in the space where I would want to. I wouldn't have the will to do that, really. And I think you have to take baby steps when you start to feel a bit down. To be honest, I don't think there's any point trying to shock your body into not being depressed, because that's not how it works. No, it really isn't that way. That doesn't work. It's a false idea, I think, that you can just, I don't know, start doing a bunch of push-ups and you're suddenly going to feel happy. That's why I think that's the sort of, I don't know. But yeah, I've been having a lot of so I've been doing some artwork. I'll show you one actually. Maybe I might as well. Why not? It's quite fucked up, really. Anyway, not really. It's not that bad. It's just like space dementia. It's called. It's a drawing I did a while ago. So I've been doing little bits of drawing. This is the way you can say about that. It's a skull-like figure. It's sort of expressionist, the usual style of drawing, and I mean, art's always a good thing to express this mental realm you go into when you get depressed, really. And it does help a bit, but it's not like, it doesn't get rid of the depression. It's just a way of channeling it, really, to be honest. And yeah, I've been certainly, like I was on the, I'm just gonna carry on. I was on the tube today, and I think it's because I'm reading Thomas Ligotti, and the last few stories I read in the short stories collection were quite grim, and they were about, well, they were about a lot of things, but one of them was about, it's like serial killers and murderers and everything. It's quite a dark series of short stories, and then all these sort of very dark thoughts going around my head, not about being a serial killer, but just about that in general. I tend to get very macabre thoughts and very dark and twisted. Not the sense of me wanting to do anything, just like sort of pondering, like, how can the human mind be corrupted or stretched or twisted to that level? I find it really interesting, but sort of macabre, right? All the darkness. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's hard, to not focus on the negative side of life, and I really, I don't know. I wish I could not do that. I'm a bit of a miserablist, if I'm honest. I am a miserablist. I'm a pessimist. I've always been a pessimist. For like pretty much since I was late teenager. Like I can't. I've been trying to watch more comedy, actually. That's been a good thing. So I've been like, I started watching Black Books, which is probably a good one to watch because the character in that is sort of a cynical, jaded, bit like me, really, a bit loads of bookstore. And then just been trying to watch lots of stand-up. It's like distraction, really. It's distraction from, this empty feeling that I feel, and this sort of overwhelming, overbearing emptiness. But I think I'll leave it at that. It's already 50 minutes of me talking about my depression. What have you found has helped with getting out these states of mind, or not getting out necessarily, but just helping with it? Yeah, it's like I said, the men's channel's mostly my diary, my online diary now. Just okay. Good evening or morning. Dobre idzie ili dobre утро.